Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Insight. Now in this episode we are going to talk about what could potentially be the biggest political game changer ahead of the most important elections of 2022, the Uttar Pradesh State Assembly elections. Now there's a growing murmur in the political corridors of Lucknow, of Delhi, and even in the media that there is a rift between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Yogi Adityanath. Now, if these speculations are to be true and they lead to a breakdown of relations between the two leaders, the implications of that could be massive, especially ahead of the elections. Now, remember, Yogi Adityanath is seen by many in the BJP and also in the RSS as somebody who could potentially take over from Narendra Modi. He is a flag bearer of Hindutva politics in the country and also of the right-wing ideology. So a souring of relations between the two leaders could have massive implications. We're going to hear from senior journalist Sanjay Kapoor, who's also the editor of Hard News magazine. He's an expert of sorts on UP politics. We're going to hear from him later in the video. But before that, let's quickly break down what exactly happened that led to these speculations coming in the media of a rift between the two leaders. Now, who is Arvind Kumar Sharma? He is a former IAS officer of the Gujarat cadre who is reportedly very close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Now, in January this year, Yogi Adityanath nominated Arvind Kumar Sharma as a member of the Legislative Council, which is the Vidhan Parishad or the upper house of the State Assembly. Interestingly, Uttar Pradesh is one of the 6 states in the country to have a Vidhan Parishad. But when Yogi was asked to replace one of the existing deputy chief ministers of the state, either Dinesh Sharma or Keshav Prasad Maurya, that is when Yogi Adityanath reportedly put his foot down and refused to have a cabinet reshuffle, especially with the induction of Arvind Kumar Sharma in his cabinet. The BJP fared badly in the Panchayat polls of Uttar Pradesh. The candidates backed by Samajwadi Party and even the independent candidates claim to have done better than the BJP-backed candidates. Now, because the Panchayat polls are not fought on a party symbol, it is difficult to give you the final tally of the results. But it is safe to say that the BJP-backed candidates came in third after the Samajwadi Party and even the independent candidates. Then came the COVID-19 debacle in the state. There were reports of hundreds of school teachers and staff dying due to compulsory poll duty in Panchayat elections during peak COVID-19 second wave. Then the state experienced the worst COVID outbreak, and with that the massive unavailability of resources and unpreparedness was highlighted in the state. The jarring images of thousands of bodies, dead bodies, washing up on the shores of the river Ganga and even thousands being buried in the sand on the banks of the river Ganga, all of it, it really dented Prime Minister Narendra Modi's image, not just nationally but internationally also. It resulted in immeasurable loss of face for Prime Minister Narendra Modi both nationally and internationally, and that reportedly became a sticking point for Modi's and Yogi's relationship. RSS National Deputy Chief Dattatreya Hosebale, he visited Lucknow in the last week of May, and apart from meeting Yogi Adityanath himself, he also met with members of the Sangh Parivar. Now the intention of the meet was to get feedback on the government and its functionaries' response to the second wave of COVID-19. He also met with MLAs, MPs and also with the state ministers themselves. After that, BJP's General Secretary BL Santosh and the BJP's in charge for Uttar Pradesh, Radha Mohan Singh, both of them also came to Lucknow to virtually repeat the same exercise. Radha Mohan Singh also met with the UP governor Anandiben Patel. Now, after all of their return from Lucknow to Delhi, the RSS held their meet in Delhi, which started on June 3rd. Now, RSS sources said that this was a routine meet, but there was buzz that Yogi Adityanath's future was discussed in the RSS meet in Delhi. Yogi Adityanath's birthday was on June 5th, and people noticed that Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not take to social media to wish him publicly. Now, BJP sources claim that that was because of the pandemic and that the Prime Minister actually did call him personally and wished him personally. But what is interesting and even suspicious is that nobody from the BJP central leadership or even in the central government took to social media to wish Yogi Adityanath, which is pretty standard protocol. So even that gave rise to suspicion that something was amiss. Jitin Prasada joined the BJP on June 9th, and he was considered as Congress's Brahmin face in Uttar Pradesh. Now he's being looked at as somebody who can help the BJP with the Brahmin vote bank, which is reportedly angry and have resentment against Yogi Adityanath's government for what they say are atrocities against the community going unpunished. They're also saying that there isn't enough representation of the Brahmin community in the government, in the UP government. Now, although Yogi Adityanath has welcomed Prasada's induction and has said that his induction is only going to strengthen the party even further, but his induction gives a sense that this is another blunder by Yogi Adityanath that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to fix ahead of the state assembly elections. Now, given all of these developments, I want to leave you with some questions that came to my mind that have been answered by senior journalist and political commentator Sanjay Kapoor. Listen in.
So, if you allow me to go back to 2014, BJP did not win because of Yogi Adityanath. He was not a factor. He kind of came in later, and it was Mr. Yogi, Mr. Prime Minister Modi, and the kind of traction the BJP got, or kind of expectation people had from BJP, that helped the party to come to power. So, if Mr. Modi shows the courage to remove him, it will first of all take a great amount of effort. And he would also have to show how Mr. Yogi, who represents the hard face of Hindutva, has been removed. I mean, you need to have the right kind of construct in terms of the explanation that you would give by removing Mr. Yogi from there. And on top of that, he has a nuisance value as long as you have the elections or the parties in power right up to, say, March, April next year. So in 1 year time, you could see him dirtying the water or making the water so toxic that become difficult for BJP to get out of it. We must recognize who Yogi Adityanath is all about. We must understand, because once you withdraw yourself from Lucknow and you start seeing everything from the perspective of BJP and the so-called the Anushasan or the discipline that they represent, a lot of things are forgotten. Yogi Adityanath has not been a member of BJP. He was not a member of RSS. So that in a certain way should explain that he is not bound by the discipline of RSS. He is in a certain way a man who has his own ideas about how Hindu religion should be promoted, how it should go ahead, and what BJP means to them, and how BJP government, is aligned to his interests. So when he became the chief minister, he became a chief minister by threatening to the central BJP leadership, because he fought an election on BJP ticket, that if he is not made the chief minister, and instead he was kept away, and somebody called Manoj Kumar Sinha was made. Manoj Sinha was made the chief minister, who's now incidentally the lieutenant governor of Kashmir. then he would walk away with the majority of the legislators and also cause great harm to the parliamentary majority of Prime Minister Modi. So, in a certain way, he represents the arrogance that he derives from the mutt that he presides over, the Gorakhnath Temple Trust, as well as the fact that UP is a populous state which sends about 80 MPs. And although BJP has about 70 odd, they are a very, very sizable number. So Yogi Adityanath should be seen from this particular perspective, that he, in a certain way, represents a major power center. So once you have a chief minister from Uttar Pradesh, he would not think himself to be less than that of a person who's become the prime minister from Gujarat or somebody who's come from wherever. It's very, very difficult for them to reconcile to a secondary role. So when Mr. Yogi Adityanath, as I told you much earlier, they're not weighed down by the so-called Anushasan or discipline of the RSS or the BJP. When he or his followers or his supporters or his advisors, the mentors or whatever, they recognize that this leadership from Delhi is trying to make life miserable, they're bound to push back, because it resides in the very nature of the man, as well in the way the entire thing is constructed. And that man recognizes the importance that UP has in that larger scheme of things, whether the number of MPs, the number of MLAs, the kind of havoc that. So he represents the threat and blackmail. I personally feel that once he has been put in as a chief minister, if they want to remove him, he would only come in as a home minister in Delhi. That is the only thing that he will settle for, nothing less than that, because his position makes it very clear that he comes from Uttar Pradesh, not a small state like somewhere in the northeast or Pondicherry or wherever. And that, I think, Mr. Modi recognizes. I mean, the fact of the matter is that RSS has been tries, much to the annoyance of the BJP leadership, to show itself as the moral force, as somebody who only has the interests of the organization and the government at heart, and they want to see whether they can bring about any kind of corrective measure to ensure that the BJP continues to remain in power, and whatever infirmities, whatever glitches there might have been in the government or the way the party is working or leadership is working, they can have them removed. Or even when it comes to bringing about a change in leadership, they can create circumstances in which it can happen. So I think what I know
is
that
RSS taking a call on the future of Yogi Adityanath?
I don't think they're in a position to do it. They may try to give an impression, but they can't do it. In fact, they have, backtracked. They have made noises to suggest that, they are not really keen to have him replaced, or there's not going to be change in leadership. So they may have done their own little work of meeting some of their followers and some of the people that they trust. But I don't think they're in a position to bring about any kind of change. In fact, Yogi Adityanath, for quite a while, was being presented as the alternative to the prime minister. In fact, one of the things that rankles or what causes a certain amount of tension between the two is that there is a lobby within the RSS of the Hindutva rank, which presents Yogi Adityanath as somebody who would probably succeed the prime minister. Because he's much younger and he is a hard face of the party. Even the crossing over of Jiten Prasad, which they have done, is somehow to convey an impression that they are trying to do something with the Brahmins, because the general impression is the Brahmins have got a raw deal, because Mr. Yogi Adityanath, being a Thakur and a Mathadhish of a Thakur temple, is only interested in their welfare, and the Brahmins and every other caste is kind of getting sidelined. But having said that, the BJP is a party of Hindutva, where individuals like Mr. Jiten Prasad can't really make much, because as it is talking about temple, it's talking about all the issues which are dear to people who swear by the religion and who want the enlargement of the Hindutva. So there is a limited space that Mr. Jiten Prasad would bring into this order of things. But central leadership is hopeful that by getting Mr. Jiten Prasad, an impression would be created that the party is on a strong wicket, is trying to rework on certain areas of weakness, like getting the smallifying the Brahmins, ensuring that more people come and join. So it's got more to do with optics rather than anything else. I mean, if you look at the track record of Mr. Narendra Modi since he has come to power, has he removed any chief minister till now?
No.
I don't think so. In the last 7 years, I don't think he has removed anybody, because I don't think he wants to destabilize the government despite many differences. He would allow Mr. Yogi to play himself out, and central leadership has the ability to give long ropes to anybody. And they would wait for the time when things really go bad. If he loses, that's a different story altogether. But when it comes to Uttar Pradesh, I think everybody would have to put all their hands on the ship. And without that, I don't think the BJP, because they are becoming extremely unpopular. And a party which did not even stir and muscle all the few years, Mr. Mulayam Singh Yadav and his son Akhilesh Yadav's party, Samajwadi Party, they just sat on their haunches in the last few years, and they still emerged as the single largest party in the Panchayat election. So if this is a reflective of the mood on the ground, then you can imagine where it is all going. People are just disgusted. Price rise, loss of jobs, this brutality of the state, how the minorities have been treated, this indifference to lynching. I mean, it's a state which has slid so rapidly on every human indicator.
Thank you so much, Sanjay Kapoor, for joining me and giving me all of your insights and your valuable perspective on what's going on in UP right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
If you like this video, don't forget to virtually like this video as well. Share the video with your friends and your followers within your circles. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel and also hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on this channel. We need your viewership, we need your subscription, we need your support to be able to sustain this independent venture of ours. So please support us by subscribing to this channel. Thank you so much for watching this video.